everyone. I welcome to today's last session of this certificate program. I hope all of you are having a very good time, and welcome to this particular 12th session of this certificate program on using social media marketing from branding and marketing. Dr. Anirvan Som is also with us, and he will be the research person for today's talk. And Dr. Anirvan Som is currently an assistant professor at IIM Trichy for doctoral and MBA level courses in the marketing area. He has been working at IIM Trichy for more than 6 years. His teaching expertise is in subjects like marketing management, marketing research, retail management, and consumer behavior. Dr. Som completed his PhD studies from Bond University, Australia. He did his MSc Business from National University of Singapore. Anirvan has published more than research articles, dozen of research articles in ABDC, listed A-star and A category journals like the Journal of Business Research, International Journal of Research in Marketing, Australian Marketing Journal and Research. And he also published, presented papers on various top international conferences. And also Dr. Som is also an avid follower of sports and political issues. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. And this is the second time we're going to listen to you. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the introduction. So and welcome back, participants. So I had covered the topic on influencer marketing in my previous session. Let me just share this slide. Okay. No. Dr. Kaushik, yeah, can you see my PPT now?
Yes, sir. It's just opening up. Yes. Now it's visible.
Okay, great. Right. So I had covered the topic on influencer marketing, right, in my previous session. So today, sort of, I'm going to cover one more interesting topic, which is about brands and social media in this age of social media marketing, right? But the topic that I've chosen, for today's talk, I mean, the content of the topic is slightly different, right, from what we traditionally study, right, when we talk about social media marketing. Okay, and there's a reason to that. For one reason is that, you see, social media marketing is talked about a lot, okay, these days. So you can find a lot of articles, a lot of books, a lot of literature, right, and a lot of blogs, forums, etc., which talk about how do brands make use of social media to enhance their marketing prospects, right, in today's digital and socially connected age, right? But something which is not often talked about, and maybe you won't also find many books, okay, or many articles, right? I've chosen such a domain. But the reason I've chosen such a domain is not only because it is not that available, the reason also being that it is something which is very important from the context of organizations and brands, but is often overlooked, right? So I'm going to talk about how should brands handle social media, right, in today's digitally connected world, in order to ensure that social media works to their advantage and not to their disadvantage, right? See, one thing is about using social media, right? One thing is about knowing how to handle social media. Using social media is talked about a lot, but the thing is, how do you handle social media? That is something possibly you won't find, right, in forums, lectures, topics, or in organizations, right? But that is something which I've picked up, and I'm also offering a course here in IIM Trichy, right, which talks about this similar topic, right? And I'm going to discuss my views, right, on that topic in today's forum. I hope you find this relevant and interesting. So to talk about, see, in this age of social media, and please feel free to interrupt me whenever you feel so, and you can ask me questions anytime, right? So you see, in today's age of social media, right, brands are waiting for a crisis to unfold. And social media, just like it can be a boon, can also be a bane if not handled properly. So it is imperative that organizations get crisis ready in the form of being able to handle social media effectively. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe, right, for their brand. But sadly, this is missing, right, from most organizations. Right? So crisis, whether it be social media or non-social media, is often looked upon as a part-time job in organizations. And that is where the entire problem starts. Okay, so we are going to talk about, okay, how should organizations effectively know how to manage social media to avoid any crisis which can be detrimental, right, for their brand. And I'm going to chalk out detailed steps, can take you through various examples, okay, to help you navigate this very interesting topic. Right, so before even I go to the details, if I can ask you, right, can you recall any incident, right, from your own workplace or from the past, right, from yeah, sorry, there was a snap. So where I just got interrupted. So can you recall from your recent memory, right, any incident in which you want to discuss, or you can write on the chat box, right? Anything is welcome. But maybe one or two inputs might be quite interesting, and I'll use that later on. Okay, when I bring in my my frameworks. Any incident you can recall, right, in which brands fell into crisis. Anything will do. Can be a PR crisis, can be an ad-related crisis, can be a human resource crisis, can be a supply chain crisis, whatsoever. I'm pretty sure that you definitely will have read about multiple events on crisis, right? When you read a business newspaper, like a Business Line, or even if you read a Hindu or a Times of India, right? So anything which comes up, which pops up, you can write on the chat box if you wish to. Okay, so let me carry on then. Maybe I'll bring in my examples. Okay, all right. You see, I'll go to the examples. But the thing is, what is important is this last bullet point. So, is crisis management for brands in this age of interconnectivity using social media a part-time job, right? And actually, it is not a part-time job. But brands often end up looking at crisis management using social media as being a part-time job. And that hurts their brands. You see, we talk about CEOs, we talk about CFOs, we talk about COOs, we talk about Vice President Human Resource, we talk about Vice President Operations, Vice President Marketing, right? But rarely, or maybe not, we have never heard about a term such as, Chief Crisis Officer, or someone like a Consumer Commitment Officer, a CCO. Okay, which itself shows that brands often treat a crisis using social media as a part-time job. Right? So that's the first step, okay, for creating a crisis-ready organization. Is to hire or to appoint, okay, a CCO, a Consumer Commitment Officer, or a Chief Crisis Officer. right? In the hierarchy, he should be at a senior level and he should report directly to the CEO or to the business head, right, of his unit. Now, what is his role? His roles will be cut out. I'll be discussing those. But one of the primary roles will be to check round the clock and around the year whether the organization is crisis ready or whether there can be any gap that is not fulfilled, and which is a time bomb, ticking time bomb, just waiting to erupt. Okay. So that's the first point, right? So you see, once you appoint a CCO, right, the real job starts there. So what are the things that a CCO needs to do? So there are three things, okay, that we are going to talk about mostly. Okay, or rather I'll talk about, but what is more important, I'll talk about the first step, right, and briefly touch upon the last two steps, right, if we have time. The first step is something which is often overlooked. That is securing your digital assets, right? And I'm going to spend some time on that. Securing digital assets. So what do we mean by saying that securing digital assets? You see, maybe I'll ask you the question again. Say, as I understand, many of you are working in the banking sector, right? And some of you are from the education sector as well. And tell me this, so when you launch a new product, say for example, or a new banking service, or for an event, say, right? Is it a common practice, or is it like a somewhat common practice at least to launch a new app, okay, or say for example, launch a new Facebook handle or launch a new Twitter handle, right? How many of you will agree with me that these social media handles, whether it be through Twitter, Facebook, or any other, are event specific, right? Or at least many of them are event specific. So do you agree with me? You can simply type yes or no in the chat box. So the question is that, do organizations create apps or social media handles often specific to events? Upcoming events, can be new product launches, can be during festive season, whatsoever. So I will just to type yes, no, maybe, somewhat, whatsoever. Okay. Okay. So I got one yes, yeah. Maybe others?
Yes, to facilitate easy processing for the users, to avail better facilities.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Yes. Okay. I got quite a few yeses. Okay. Now tell me this. So say you launch an app or a social media handle for a specific event. Say for example, you're launching a new product, right? Or a new service. Right. Now the event is over. The launch is over. Maybe the post-launch phase also is over. Right. Now tell me what happens to that app. What happens to that app? What happens to that handle? So I've created it, I've used it, I've interacted with people, right? Now what? Now the next event comes. I again launch a new app. Okay, then maybe another year goes by. There is another product launch. I launch another app. What happened to that app which was launched 2 years ago? Do we even recall it? Do we even remember it? Okay, yes, if you can please type yes or no in the chat box. Yeah, I'm expecting some answers, right? Do we even remember it? Is it a yes, no, whatsoever? Do we even keep track of it? What is happening to it? No response? At least an yes or no? Not really. Okay. Any other response? Okay, so no, sir, but in instance, we might think about it. Okay. So generally no, but maybe suddenly you might think about it. Right? So when the next event comes, you might think about what happened to the app launched in the previous event. Okay. Yeah. So you see, so brands have various websites. They have mobile apps, they have Facebook pages, They have Twitter handles, they have pages on LinkedIn, whatever, Instagram, etc. They might have YouTube channels also. See, but often at times, these are very event specific. I might have created a very awesome app, right? I might have created a very exciting, cool Twitter handle, which might have created a lot of tweets, retweets. People might have gone crazy with the level of discussion that went on these forums. But then everything became silent, everything became cold after the event got over. A corporate blog may have been started at some stage. Maybe an internal blog may have been started at some stage. Right? Maybe during the yearly appraisal, okay, maybe when the new CEO comes in, but then it has died down again. Okay? Now, therein lies a problem. The thing is, often at times we fail to keep track of these social media handles or these apps. So the question that can be asked here is, for example, are they still out there? Okay? I mean, it might not have vanished out in the air, right? So did you shut it down? Okay, no. Then what happened to it? I don't know. That's the standard answer. So for the CCO, the duty is to check, are they still out there? Then for example, okay, who was handling the app? Okay, was it an intern? Okay, was it for example, the product launch team? Okay, was it the PR team? Who was handling it? Okay, it was the product launch team. Okay, are they handling it now? Okay, no. Okay, then who is handling it? Once again, the standard answer will be, I don't know. So I have to take note of as a CEO. Sorry, as a CCO. All these boxes I need to tick. Now, have they been taken down? In most cases, this is no. And this is a very dangerous thing. Right? And we'll get to know why. Okay. If the answer is no, I better take stock of the situation. Okay. Then, for example, who had the login credentials? Do I even remember the login credentials? Okay. Maybe the guy who was handling the product launch had the login credentials. Fine. So where is he now? Oh, yes, left the organization. So then who knows the login credentials? We don't know. Okay. You see, so many problems can happen. Then for example, what if an errant employee starts misusing such assets? Say, for example, I'm disgruntled with the organization. Either they're not giving me a pay hike, or they're not giving me a promotion, or I know that someone else is getting promoted ahead of me, and I get seriously angry. And I have access to these handles. There is a serious chance I might go and misuse it. Okay. Now the problem is, it will all come back and hurt the brand or the organization, and we'll get to see why. At the end of it, the customer or the external world, they're not really bothered about who is writing the tweet, right? For them, it's the brand or the company is writing the tweet. They're not concerned about whether it's a disgruntled employee, whether it's someone else. Okay. The Twitter handle is the social face. And if the social face is going wrong, the brand is in serious trouble. So this virtual junk can be a serious trouble, right, for the organization. The thing is, does the CCO have the ability to locate such assets and disable those on an emergency basis? So these are quite a few burning questions that the CCO needs to answer firsthand, okay, after he is appointed. Okay. Now the second part. The second part is about locating the external agencies. Okay, now maybe I'll ask you the question again. Say, often at times we might not have the ability, right, to manage social media handles. Okay, we might take the help of marketing agencies, right, to manage social media handles. Right? Do you agree with me? Is my internal team always capable of handling, for example, social media handles, apps, YouTube channels, or does it make sense sometimes to outsource it? Okay, to someone who is more knowledgeable and an expert at these things. What do you think? Yes.
Yes, sir. Outsourcing makes it easier and also time saver.
Time saving, right? Okay. Now the thing is, if I ask you the next question, so the thing is, I'm collaborating, okay, with an external agency, right? So now tell me, who is in control of my social media handle, me or them? So anything about my brand, about my organization, who is in control now?
So I guess regular surveillance must be kept even if the third person is under the charge of handling it.
Okay. Okay, regular surveillance, that's a good point, definitely. Okay. Now, the next question is, if something, some adverse message comes out of the handle, then who is to blame, me or them? So with whom does the buck stop? At whom does the buck stop? Okay, any guess here? So if I'm working, okay, with so-and-so agency ABC, right, and they misfire a tweet, then who will be held responsible, me or them? Or who will it hurt most, me or them? See, they might at most lose the contract with me. But it is me who is at the receiving end now, right? So it's my organization, right? My Twitter handle, doesn't matter who is managing it. Finally, it is me who is held responsible for any negative tweet, any negative comment post on Facebook. Okay, so you see, second source of concern. Just like we talked about securing digital assets as the first source of concern, the second source is about managing digital assets in collaboration with external agencies. Okay. All right. So you see, brands often use these external agencies to build and maintain digital assets. But there is always the risk of these assets being compromised, right? Due to, I would say, unprofessionalism or carelessness on the part of the agencies with whom we are collaborating. Or it might be a few individuals in the agencies who really might put me into a lot of embarrassment. And it is my brand which will suffer. Right? If there's a lot of negative gossip about the brand, right, that is not good, that is not desirable. I might be talked about, but then I'm being talked about in not the right way. And as a brand, I want to avoid that. And this can happen, okay, if the agency with whom I'm collaborating and who is in charge of managing my social media handle, right, they're unprofessional. I'll give you some examples. You look at this tweet, right? So this was Chrysler Autos. Right? And they were celebrating something like the Detroit Week, right? And then the tweet on the left-hand side comes up. So someone says from the Chrysler Auto Twitter handle that I find it ironic, okay, that Detroit is known as the Motor City, and yet no one here knows how to freaking drive. Okay. Just think about this. Who might have done this? What do you think? You think it was Chrysler? So who do you think might have done this? And then you see the apology comes out immediately, not immediately, in a few hours from Chrysler. Our apologies. Our account was compromised earlier today. Okay, we are taking steps to resolve it. But in the middle, in between these two tweets, a lot has gone wrong. Some people started having fun about Chrysler. Some people started mocking Chrysler. Some started abusing Chrysler. Okay, some really started criticizing them. And at the end, okay, what it turned out, okay, was that, you see, we are just, if I can, I'll just show you this particular thing. Second. I'll just open this link. Prof Kaushik.
Sir, I think your PPT is not visible. Last time you disconnected. That's why that is also disconnected, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
Excuse me, I was supposed to tell you before, but anyway.
Okay, no issues. I'll just yes, open the screen. No issues.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you see, I was talking about, so is my screen visible now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, and is this, just give me a second.
I think when you are on the first slide, maybe the second one, that time you got disconnected.
Okay. So, till which slide?
No, from the beginning, I guess.
Okay, is it? Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, but I'll come to here. So, see, I was talking about this thing, this particular slide. Okay, see, the thing is, we were talking about working with external agencies, right, for securing our digital assets. So, what I just discussed, and what one of you also put a point, okay, correctly, okay, was that brands often need to work with external agencies because they might not have the expertise, right, to manage their social media handles like the Twitter handles or the Facebook pages professionally. But the thing is, if left uncontrolled, okay, this collaboration with the external agencies can often, okay, lead to a mishandling of social media pages, Twitter handles, Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and that can compromise, okay, the welfare of the brand. Right, and often at times this can happen, okay, due to carelessness or unprofessionalism on the part of the external agencies or the individuals, right, working in such agencies. Okay, so then I came to this example. So in this particular example, I was talking about this iconic brand Chrysler Autos. So Chrysler Autos, they were celebrating something called Detroit Week. Or they were middle of something called Detroit Week, right? So Detroit is one of the major cities, right, in the US, which is traditionally known for manufacturing, world-class automobiles. Okay, and Chrysler was celebrating a part of that, right? Now suddenly, one day this tweet comes out from Chrysler. So they said, I find it ironic that Detroit is known as the motor city, and yet no one here knows how to freaking drive. Right? So who do you think this tweet might have come out from? That was my question. And then comes the second tweet, but that is after a few hours lag, which says that apologies, our account was compromised earlier today, and we are taking steps to resolve it. What it turns out, okay, now I'll ask Prof Kaushik, I just opened this particular link. If you can tell me whether this works on, whether it's visible or not.
Okay, sure.
Is this, maybe I'll just show the screen. Yeah. Yeah, is the link visible?
Yes.
So the article, the man fired over obscene Chrysler.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay. See, it turns out that Chrysler was collaborating with this external agency, right? So they are a contractor, right? Whom they were paying, okay, for managing their social media handle. It turns out that this contractor posted this, very unprofessional tweet, but it was on Chrysler's official social media handle. Okay. Now guess what could have gone wrong? What went wrong, okay, was that this employee was driving back and he was in a traffic jam. He was driving back home from office and he was in a traffic jam, right? So he got a bit frustrated and sort of he made the tweet. A bit of sarcasm, fun, everything, saying that, okay, people in Detroit don't know how to drive. And that is why we have this traffic jam. But he made that from his, personal device. And it turns out so that on his personal device, he could also log into Chrysler's Twitter handle because he was a part of that team. And instead of the tweet getting launched from his own Twitter handle, it got launched from Chrysler's official Twitter handle. Right? So it ended up being that Chrysler was tweeting that people in Detroit don't know how to drive. Just imagine the one small intermixing of two Twitter pages or two Twitter handles, and it resulted in a few hours of nightmare, right, for a brand like Chrysler. Okay, so this guy was 28-year-old Ferndale. His name was Ferndale. right? So he was a Ferndale resident, and his name was Scotia Bartosiewicz. Right? He got fired, but then guess what? I mean, who doesn't even care that he got fired or not? Maybe Chrysler cares, his company cares, the customers don't care. Okay, the external agencies, they don't care. The audience doesn't care. Right? And they had a field day, right, on Twitter. All right. So the point here being that, can you see my slide again, Dr. Kaushik?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. When I just change the pages, I just want to make sure, that I'm back to the previous page.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm fine. So the point here being that, securing digital assets is not only about knowing where your assets are, what your Twitter handles are, when were they used, who are the login credentials. It's also about, if you're outsourcing it to some external agency, you should have full control. And you should know exactly what tweet is going out. And anyone and everyone shouldn't have the authority to post a tweet on your behalf without it getting marked and checked. Okay, that's the second lesson. Okay, now think about this one, and this is from India, right? So you see this Volkswagen. A few years ago, Volkswagen launched this vibrator ad in the Times of India. So the vibrator ad was like, so when you open the Times of India paper, there's something like a funny vibration sound that comes up, right? It looks like Volkswagen wanted to instill a sense of humor and excitement in the readers of Times of India. And it was a part of them introducing some new products, some new models in India. Okay, but the thing is, not everyone liked it, right? So these are some Twitter users, right? Some female Twitter users, right? Who said that, it's very stupid of them to spend so much on such mass media campaigns. It's like, doesn't make any sense at all. And it's like, only a mad person can think about hallucinating, right, in a newspaper, whatsoever. So this was the reaction of the audience. Some of the audience, not all. Okay, now, what do you think could be the reaction of Volkswagen here? Any guesses? What would be the reaction? Or if you were Volkswagen, how will you react?
Participants, you can also share your feedback in the chat box.
Yes, surely. Yeah, I would love to see some responses.
Yes.
Yep. The chat boxes. Is there anything? Okay, anyone? Yeah, maybe some responses will be good. Okay, no issues. Okay, so I'll go back to my presentation in that case. Okay, so yeah, so you see, so I'm back to my PPT now. I hope you can see it. So the thing is, this was the reaction from Volkswagen India. So someone said, women would be dumb to call it a vibrator, or maybe they do not know, they do not understand what a real driving experience is, right? But I mean, if you think about it in the hindsight, Volkswagen wouldn't be so stupid, right, to give out such a campaign, right? You see, what happened was that one of the employees at Volkswagen India, who, as people presumed, okay, might have been a part of that campaign, he got so freaked out, right, at the adverse reactions that he retorted in a very sharp way, like this. Okay, so he said that, okay, only women can call it, would be so dumb that they can't understand this ad. Maybe they don't know how to drive. So he or she equated gender with driving, right? And there's a lot of controversy, okay, a lot of adverse reactions on Twitter about this particular tweet. Finally, Volkswagen took note of the situation, and they said that, our handle got compromised, and we officially distanced ourselves from it, and we are investigating, okay, this issue. But it's only after a lot of negativity was already there on various social media pages and on the media also. Okay, was reported in links like pages like Huffington Post and all. Okay. Okay. So once again, it turned out to be, okay, that it was not Volkswagen, but someone else with whom they were collaborating, right, who got out this particular tweet. So the commonality between this example and the previous example is that
I think there is a technical glitch from the research person side.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, back again. Yeah. So my question was, is it a, so I'll share my slides again, but is it a common belief, okay, amongst amongst organizations, okay, that if it is about handling social media, young employees would be able to do it well? Is that a common belief? Some yeses or nos here? For the ones who are working, right? Is it I mean, rightly or wrongly held belief that, yeah, they do believe, right? Yes. Yes. Yeah. So that is what I was expecting also. So let me share the screen again. You see, what happens there, where my page went, just give me a second. Oh yeah, coming back here. You see, what happens again is that this is often a concept, okay, which might or might not work well. It is often a risky proposition. Okay, so I'm back to my PPT. Dr. Kaushik, visible, right?
Yes, sir, very much.
Okay, fine. See, the thing is that when, as I said earlier also, so the social media page is the social voice. It's the social face of the organization. So you have to leave it in responsible hands. I'm not saying that young people are not responsible, right? But the problem often with leaving social media in the hands of young interns or trainees is that they are still getting used to the organization. A newly joined trainee, a newly joined intern, he doesn't have adequate knowledge, okay, about the culture of the organization, maybe about the social media fan base of the organization, okay, maybe about the positioning of the products of the organization, okay, maybe about the culture of the organization. So he might not be the right person whom you should make the face of the organization. Okay, it might be an imprudent decision. So it might be a better option to have someone experienced and have been trained in social media. Can be a senior person. Of course, you can't have the CEO or the CC or the CFO, right, to handle your social media handles. Okay, but then can be someone experienced, maybe a middle level or a mid-middle level, right, and train him well so that he has adequate knowledge, right, of the whereabouts, the ins and outs of the organization, right, and then the voice that he comes out with, okay, is a knowledgeable voice, not a voice from a rookie. Okay, right. So you see, once again, otherwise this can lead to problems, right? So you see, if you don't leave it in the hands of the right owners, it can lead to problems. So you see, HMV UK, they're a Twitter disaster, right? So what happened was that HMV was in the process of restructuring. Okay, so they were in the process of dismissing quite a few employees. Some of them new, some of them experienced, right? And one of the employees who was dismissed had a good knowledge of the social media handles, right? He had also worked as an intern in the organization, but then apparently his contract was not getting renewed, and he was also amongst the one who was getting fired. But because he had the knowledge, right, he decided to take his anger out through social media. Okay, so what he did, he simply went to Twitter, okay, some of the handles which he had access to because he worked there, and he just came up with his random tweets. We read those, pretty hilarious and pretty, disturbing also at times. For example, sorry, we have been quiet for so long. Under contract, we have been unable to say a word, or more importantly, the truth. There are over 60 of us being fired at once, mass execution of loyal employees who love the brand. We are doing live from HR, where we're all being fired. Exciting, huh? Right? Then he mocks the marketing director, tells him that just over a marketing director. He's saying, folks, he asked me, how do I shut down the Twitter? Okay, so then the problem with HMB was that no one, including the marketing director, had any clue of what this handle was, who had access to it, how to shut it down. Okay, it ended up, this saga been going on for quite a few hours till the time they were able to bring this under control. Okay. So this was a case of the social media handle being in the hands of the wrong owner. The wrong owner means an individual who still did not have his place secured in the organization, right? And who, after getting fired, used this as a way to vent out his anger, right? So that is why I was getting to the point that you should have your digital assets placed in the hands of the right owners. Right owners means someone who is senior in the hierarchy, right? Who is more likely to stay with the organization, who is less likely to be disgruntled, okay, who has a strong grasp, right, on the culture of the organization, on its products, on its people, and is less likely to make such debacles. Okay, so that's the third lesson. Okay. Now the fourth lesson is that we talked about the CCO, so the Consumer Commitment Officer or the Chief Crisis Officer. The fourth lesson is that the CCO has to know all her digital assets very thoroughly. Now, how does he know his digital assets thoroughly? We all know about inventory management, but how many of us do even think about creating an inventory of the social assets? Social assets means social media assets, digital assets. For example, how many of us, even the IT teams, how many of them have an inventory? For example, the agencies who have built a handle. Who is the owner of that handle in the organization? What is the protocol for taking it down in a hurry? These are SOPs which need to be put in place urgently if it is not there. Then, for example, see, in the previous case, this case, had this handle been taken down, right, because it was an unused handle, right, then this debacle could have been avoided. So the learning is that assets that are no longer in use should be unpublished. I should not be able to publish content on that. If I'm working with a collaborator, with a PR agency, with a social media agency, say for example, and if I choose not to renew the contract with them, I should have a transition protocol. So it is not like they should have continued to have access to my social media page even though I have not renewed my contract with them. That can be a recipe for disaster. Right? Just think about the Volkswagen case, the Chrysler case. Right? Assume that they choose to fire the PR agency who mistweeted some post, and the PR agency gets disgruntled. What will they do? They will continue mistweeting. So I should have a clear transition protocol. That should be a part of my do's and don'ts when I write the contract. Saying that what happens if the contract doesn't get renewed? What happens to the digital assets? Should they, if yes, for a limited period, what should be the responsibilities? Everything has to be jotted down, written down, documented. Right? Same with an employee who leaves the organization. So there should be a clear clause that if an employee leaves the organization, he or she should have no access to social media handles, even if he or she had access to it previously. The CCO for this has to know her digital assets well. He needs to know, for example, who is in charge of my Twitter page, who is in charge of this particular app, which was handled, launched during this particular event launch, or product launch. Okay. Who takes care of my customer service app? Right? Has the employee got fired? if he has industry have access any longer. So all these things, right? So you see, when we talk about digital assets, for example, we talk about say websites, right? So for example, so organizations typically might have multiple websites. Yeah, sorry once again, some snap is happening out of my control. Yeah.
It's okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming back to my page. So I think I just stopped at this previous page. Okay.
I think this one. Yes.
This one, right? Yeah. Yeah. So
Yes.
coming here now, see, we're talking about creating an inventory, right, of the digital assets. Okay. The next part is we talked about the CCO. Okay. We talked about her creating inventory of the digital assets. The fifth lesson is that the CCO will also have control. Should also be able to control the credential of the assets. Okay. So, for example, right? He or she should be having a comprehensive list of internal and external resources, right? Who can currently have access to the asset, right? Who have login credentials and who can publish materials in the asset. For example, so you can tweet, who can post comments on Facebook, who can respond to the customer, etc. If it's a customer care app, say for example. So if it's an external party, then credential access should be monitored. Okay. Say, say a situation like this happens. So this was a case of McDonald's and Burger King. See, this was in Los Angeles Times reported. See, Burger King's Twitter account got hacked. So someone replaced it with McDonald's, Big Mac, right, logo, and started publishing comments like as if it was from McDonald's. So basically, Burger King's McDonald's Twitter handle turned into someone falsely having created a McDonald's Twitter handle by removing Burger King's logo, placing McDonald's logo on there. And these are the tweets, for example. Hey, shout out you local. We caught one of our employees in the bathroom doing that. Shout out. That is why we were sold to McDonald's, and all sorts of basically unreal posts. Okay. Now the problem here, right? And if you read, as was reported from this article and many other articles, was that, even a company like Burger King, right? They didn't actually have a good documentation of who are the people who had credentials login credentials to their Twitter handles. Right? It was believed that one of them might have created this problem, maybe out of fun, out of sarcasm whatsoever. And therein comes this problem that you should have full knowledge of the credential access given to your internal parties as well as external parties, even if it's like for website or app development, because even they can compromise your handle and restrict the number of people who know your password as much as they can. It was not the case, and that is why they had a hard time finding out who actually compromised their handle. Right? And of course, they must have followed that up, okay, with more stringent login access to their Twitter handle subsequently. But that was one of the reasons why this happened. And that is one of the reasons often why these things happen. Because anyone has unfettered access. Anyone can post. Okay. Once a person gets the credentials, he continues to post lifelong. And then this problem can happen, especially if an employee leaves the organization. Once again, right, he was not happy with the organization, etc. So it's the duty of the CCO to have full knowledge of the credential access given to various parties. Okay, now the sixth lesson, okay, is that the CCO, he shall leverage technology. Okay, so say I control access, still I might find that there are multiple people, okay, within and outside the organization, right, who must have publishing access, right, to assets. The thing is, one way to control this, okay, is that some people might have what do you call, access to publishing tools and not to the actual platform. Okay, okay, and no content, okay, should be published without it having verified, okay, by the person other than the one who published it or who wrote it. So the thing is, I might have access to a publishing tool, but it might not be, should not be the real platform. In that case, sort of I'm creating a filter. And from the publishing tool, before it goes to the platform, someone should be able to verify it and approve it. So there is a gap between that, between the publishing tool and the platform. Say, for example, Social Studios, Hot Suites, Adobe, etc. These are publishing tools. And before it goes onto a real platform, okay, you can verify, mark and check it and then approve it. So they have a thumb rule, many organizations, that the person who writes the tweet should not have the right to post the tweet. Someone else should verify it on his behalf, and then only the tweet should be posted. So this is a way, okay, to secure the assets. Okay, so basically it allows very customized level of access to the brand assets. So as if I don't have full access to the social media pages, I have only somewhat access, and someone will monitor it before it is finally published. Okay. Right. Okay. Dr. Kaushik, just to verify, the PPT is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. All right. So the next part is about the customer commitment officer actually centralizing, okay, the login credentials. So what do we mean by centralizing login credentials? For example, what I can do, I can maintain a centralized database, okay, of credentials that is available only to me and maybe some other person like the chief marketing officer. Then I have to do a monthly audit. Say, for example, I have a Twitter handle, I have a social media page, I have a trio of apps, etc. I have a limited number of people who have access to those apps for the login credentials. I have to run a surprise check every month to find out whether someone else other than the authorized person has access. Or I can run a surprise check every month and check, okay, whether the login credentials that I have, can that be used to log in to the brand assets? To the digital assets. If not, I will get hold of the person and basically take him to task, ask him why has he changed the credentials. It has to be authorized. So basically pre-align what action can be taken if any asset credentials are abruptly changed. So say 5 people know the credentials. So no one of them can abruptly change the password. It has to be circulated within the group, and then only the password can be changed. Otherwise, it creates a room for someone playing truant, changing the password, posting a mistweet, and then leaving the organization. So create a protocol for updating the password regularly. Okay. Any question at this stage? Love to have some questions. Yeah.
Dear participants, you can raise your questions at the mid also.
Yeah. The questions are welcome because it helps me with my flow, of my presentation. Also. Yes. Okay. If not, okay, we can move ahead and I can take questions last 10-15 minutes also. Right? Okay. The next point is about instituting a maker and checker process. Right. So this process is about that. So this is exactly what I was referring to. A person who writes or tweets a post should never be the one approving or publishing it. So there should at least be 2 or 3 people through which any content which potentially can be published on social media has to go through to ensure that there are no damaging posts happening. So in maker and checker, so maker is a creative person. So checker is the one who ensures relevance correction for grammatical errors and will also ensure that the post is not intended for personal handles. Just to go back to one of the previous slides, the TriStar one, wherein a personal handle got mixed up with the official handle. That wouldn't have happened had we had a maker checker process, because the checker would have ensured that the post is not intended for the personal handle. Okay. And same could have been avoided in the Volkswagen case, Volkswagen India case. Okay. I can also have some legal compliances in place, right, for this maker checker. And then see, oftentimes what happens is that there is no dedicated device, okay, for accessing social media assets, social media pages. That leads to the mix-up. For example, the mix-up of Chrysler. So most hoofers happen when a piece of content meant for personal handle ends up on official pages. This could be avoided if we have a dedicated device. Say, for example, this was the case. So KitchenAid, one of the brands, right, in the US. So, someone, there was a tweet from KitchenAid which sort of was making fun of Barack Obama. If you look at the tweets, so he said that, okay, I don't have the full tweets here, but if you just do a bit of Google, it is like halfly visible, right, on the right hand side. What it says is that it was mocking Barack Obama in the sense that saying that even Obama's grandmother knew that he would be a very bad president, so she died 3 days before he became the president. Right, so that was a tweet from the KitchenAid's official page. Okay, and then, right, KitchenAid had to come up with this official tweet, a series of tweets, but not before people had made a lot of fun out of them and had also criticized them. So once again, it turned out to be that an employee of KitchenAid, instead of posting it from the personal handle, right, posted it on the official handle, because the same device, like a phone, could be used both for accessing the Twitter handle of the employee as well as the personal handle of KitchenAid. Okay. So that was the thing. Okay, did I have any question here?
Yes, the chat box there is a question with Prachi.
Yeah. So the question is about how will this maker checker system be implemented when it's handled by the person and he can anyways post it before being approved anytime? No. So the point here is that I shouldn't be able to post it before someone else has verified it. And that is where lies the usefulness of the publishing tools, like from Adobe, Hootsuite, etc. So they allow you publishing credentials, okay, but not before your post has got approved and verified by a third party, by someone else other than you. So as if you have an access to publishing tool, but you don't have access to the final platform. So before making a post on the final platform, you have to publish it to the tool. And after it gets published in the tool, someone will verify it. And then only it goes to the final page. So I can approve it and post it on the publishing tool, but not on the final Twitter page, not on the final Facebook handle. Or can be multiple other apps, multiple other websites. So therein lies the utility of the maker-checker system. Okay. All right. So I hope I have answered that. All right. So coming back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Coming back to this. So you see KitchenAid, look at the number of Twitter mentions here. You see, so they have, it was tracked based on the time of the day, time of the evening, basically. There is a time at 6 p.m. This about 6:40 p.m. This offensive tweet was launched. Just when the tweet was being launched, you look at the bar diagrams, the number of mentions was much less. Okay. First brand apology 8 minutes later. Okay, but then multiple screenshots are already being posted. The number of mentions shot up like anything. And the brand finally had to keep responding. That's why you see, if you come to the previous slide, there were multiple apologies. Right? Because the mentions were just not stopping. You look at the peak here, the orange line. The mentions really shot up here. Right? Then it went down gradually, but still it was pretty high. Huh? It went down, then finally, okay, it flattened again. But just after the first apology, it refused to die down. And that is such a series of multiple apologies had to come before it finally died down. Right? But all this happened because the same device could be used for accessing the personal as well as the official handle. The idea is to have a dedicated device. Okay? Have a secured, for example, an iPad, laptop, whatever you have. But use it only for this purpose. Don't let me check my email. Okay, or do an a Google group chat or something, a Zoom chat. No, that shouldn't be allowed. Okay. Okay. Finally, is that the CCO should verify all the assets. See, all digital assets should be verified by the respective platforms they're on. Right. See, often what happens is that there are multiple fake Twitter handles, multiple fake Facebook pages. That will lead to a lot of problem. The duty of the CCO and his team to identify the fakes on a regular basis and keep reporting it to a Twitter, to a Facebook, to an Instagram to ensure that those handles are taken down. Otherwise, people will be confused as to which is the real handle, which is a fake handle. Unverified pages are often ticking time bombs and reduce consumer faith in a brand. Say, for example, this one, Netflix. You see, Netflix, what happened was someone launched a page like Netflix India. And it was a period when Netflix was about to enter India and started making all these posts. So people thought that it was Netflix India just creating all these posts. Okay, finally it turned out that it was a fake post and Netflix had to bring it down. By the time, a lot of interactions had happened. So it was giving you advice on how to create a Netflix account, right? What are the, in what ways to create the password, etc., etc. No damage done as such, but then created a bit of an embarrassment for Netflix. Okay. Then, for example, this one, say Target, one of the leading retailers in the US. You see, someone really opened a fake Facebook page of Target and started making posts saying that Target has stopped having gender-specific toilets. They're having only gender-neutral toilets. Right? So no toilets for men and women separately. Anyone could use any of the toilets. That is to have whatever, gender parity whatsoever. So this didn't go down well. These are the customers who posted these tweets. They said, I'm tired of all this political correctness. I've stopped shopping at Walmart. I'll now stop shopping at Target. I'm extremely outraged at your stupidity. Right? I just want you to know that if it means making 20% of your customers happy, you lose the other 80%. Right? Right? And also, you see, this guy asked for help. He was the one who created this fake account. He also started responding to them. You see, look at this. Actually, Gary, you're wrong. It means nothing to us that you feel this way. Have a great day. Lisa, you sound like you need a Snickers. We'll sell them by the packs at Target. Stop on down and buy some. See, not only did he post the fake tweets, fake posts, he also started, responding, exchanging messages with them. Finally, Target had to bring it down, but only after, a lot of the customers were left confused and angry. So this was another one, a similar one, right? I find it comical that you guys cannot keep my credit card information safe. The same post, but can keep gender benders from getting hurt. Then he says, we too find it very comical, Jeremy. Let's all keep it laughing. And all this, pretty rubbish things. Okay. So the idea is that, coming back here, that I need to verify all my assets. If something is fake, take it down, report it. Otherwise, you'll get these. Finally, the CCO shall seek out for allies. For example, I need to have a right contact point for reporting abuse, impersonation, fake handles. For example, these are some of the links which are used for reporting all these fake handles and fake pages. I need to have my legal team well versed. The legal team often says, let's not do anything. But then they don't really understand the adverse impact it creates on brands, even within a few hours. They always want to keep it safe, the legal team. So you have to make them part of the crisis management team for brands. Okay. Finally, see, CCs also need to safeguard customers' data. I'm having a lot of data. What if there is a threat posed by hackers and malicious programs? Okay. See, for example, this site was there. So this is a bit of getting from social media also to digital assets, but nevertheless very related. So I thought of bringing this up. For example, say this Ashley Madison. This was a dating website. So someone hacked it and demanded millions of dollars. Else he would release all the information. So they didn't agree, and all the information, okay, about who was dating whom, etc., everything got published right in the open, leaving them with dozens of lawsuits. Right. So the thing is, I have to safeguard my data and keep updating my security, right, constantly. Okay, and I need to check it periodically. And finally, right, I need to educate my brand ambassadors also. Right, when they post or tweet something, right, they should be careful of what they're posting or tweeting. If it's something not very professional, or something that sounds very stupid, that can actually fall on the brand. Say, for example, this one. But this one was not essentially for the brand ambassador. So this was from Apple. So they had the celebrity Joan Rivers was endorsing one of the iPhones from Apple. So she made a post on Instagram. Apple published it. Okay, or it was on Facebook. Apple published it. But it turned out so that she had died a few days back. So Apple got her post. It was a timer-based program. They published it. But they didn't take notice of the fact that she had died actually a few days before that. She had a lot of embarrassment. You see? So before you post something on social media, get your facts correct. So you have to educate my brand ambassadors and also the people working with the brand ambassadors. In this case, it was the PR agency, right, who was working with the brand ambassador, right, who didn't take stock of the situation before posting something on social media. Then, for example, this one. There was this guy called Scott Disick, right, endorses for one of the brands, on Bootia protein, right, on the protein brands. You see the caption on the top. So he posted a message on Instagram saying that keeping up with the summer work routine, he was using Bootia protein. But then this top message, here you go at 4 p.m. That was the message sent by Bootia protein to him. So they asked him basically at 4 p.m. you post this message. He posted the message but also kept the original email. See, a lot of embarrassment, right? A lot of fun actually. If you look at the Instagram page, a lot of memes, okay, a lot of mocking posts. So they need to educate the brand ambassadors. So they need to educate the people working with the brand ambassadors. They need to educate the brand ambassadors. And finally, you need to be careful about what content you give to brand ambassadors. For example, this one, this was in India, right? So these people, Boman Irani, Sonakshi Sinha, Farah Khan, John Abraham, Pariniti Chopra, everyone was posting the same tweet on Jio. You look at it. Congratulations, Jio family on Landmark Day. This truly seems like the beginning of a digital India. It was not their fault. The person who gave them the content should have checked this. It was really foolish, right? 1, 2, 3, 8 people posting the same tweet. It looked like it was paid and sponsored. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to do in order to secure, okay, your digital assets. Okay. If you have any questions, I can take those here. Otherwise, I have a few more slides. But if you have any questions, I'll continue with this. Okay,
there is a question, sir, in the chat box. Can you delete the bad comments?
Okay. How to handle negative comments, remarks on social media? Okay, that's a good point. Actually, if I had time, maybe I could have discussed that also. You see, there's this art of storytelling, right, on social media. So storytelling is a very important component, right, in the way in which you deal with negative comments. So the thing is, say for example, I mean, your product turns out to be faulty. Right? And there are a lot of negative comments about your product. For example, you launch a new smartphone. People are not happy with the software. They're not happy with the security. They're not happy with whatever, the camera quality. Now, what do? Right? Firstly, is that you take the timing of the story is very important. You send out a story saying that firstly that you have taken stock of the situation. That is immediate. Secondly, you have to immediately say that what are the steps you're taking to address the situation. Right? And thirdly, right, whatever you promise, right, when you're coming out, okay, with an apology, you have to live by that. I would say some slightly off topic, not in the case of social media, but nevertheless very relevant. You know, since this Volkswagen, and when they had this cheating scandal, if you recall, this cheating scandal, huh? So, for example, they were implanting a device, right, in their car, which was pulling down the emission levels. Okay, so that they could flout emission norms. Finally, it came out. There's a lot of comments, both on social media and on mainstream media, which talked about how Volkswagen had cheated, okay, their clients, right, and also the other stakeholders, and left everyone shocked, right? But they handled this pretty well. Right? So these negative comments, they handled pretty well. Firstly, what they did was that they sacked the top people. They got the person responsible arrested. The new CEO in place. As soon as the new CEO was in place, he put up a story of transparency. This is everything, every update related to the news was published right away on their official social media pages as well as in the official press releases. Okay, so the storyteller was the CEO, who was the person in control of the situation. The content of the story was apologetic, at the same time attempting to redress the situation. The tone was very transparent now. It was very timely. It had a sense of sincerity and seriousness. And within a few months, even after this very huge scandal, the loyal fans of Volkswagen, they started regaining trust. They started forgiving Volkswagen because of the storyteller, the content of the story, the timeliness of the story. So these three things are very important. Who is the storyteller? Has to be the person who is in control of the situation. Okay, has to be a person who has got full knowledge of the situation. He has to present an idea of sincerity. He has to be timely. He has to show something that he's doing to address the situation. In Volkswagen case, they were revamping all of their emission related facilities, and everything was done in full public glare, or at least a part of it. So these things can help you to handle negative comments. Okay, there are multiple other examples. I just gave this particular example. Okay, but on the other hand, the problem is this can amplify if not handled properly. If, for example, if you look at TalkTalk was one of the British, I think, internet provider companies, TalkTalk. They ran into a problem, okay, with one of the services not working well, and then they put the CEO in charge. The CEO had no knowledge of the situation. Okay, she completely goofed it up, and it left them with far more negative comments than what was coming initially. Right? Finally, they had to put the chief information officer in place who had full knowledge of the situation and who addressed it. So what is important is the storyteller, the choice of the storyteller. The storyteller has to have full knowledge of the situation. Only then will the situation be addressed. Otherwise, it will only get amplified. Okay, I hope I've addressed that to some extent. Can we delete the bad comments and reviews? See, you shouldn't delete the bad comments and reviews. That gives a sense of cover up. For example, Xiaomi, Xiaomi, right? Let me just show you some slides on Xiaomi. This is my next set of slides. May I just show you a few? You see, one of the USPs of Xiaomi is that when they engage with fans on social media, they address the fans honestly and positively. So let's say that a company should have a positive attitude and respond quickly, courageously, and honestly. So what matters to fans is whether I'm truthful in responding to them, or whether I'm trying to window dress and bury the problem under the sand. That is something which people don't take very kindly. So what Xiaomi does, for example, they have these social networking sites, say a Facebook page, for example, wherein it is very transparent. Positive comments are there, negative comments are there. Now, Xiaomi never tweets the negative comments to keep up with a sense of transparency. Hence, there are no secrets. And their executives are trained to respond to each and every post, whether it's positive or negative, to give the message that they're not covering it up. So deleting comments is not a good idea. You need to have a system wherein your executives are trained, okay, to respond to negative comments. Sometimes own up to your mistakes. Okay, apologize, and then take steps to redress it instead of just deleting it. And that is why Xiaomi has a very good MI, they have called the MI fan base. This MI fan base is very active for Xiaomi, to the extent that a lot of their comments are incorporated in the Xiaomi products, softwares, customer service systems. So what you said, deleting comments negatively might not go down well with fans. They will treat it as something which is dishonest, something which is negative. Might not be a good idea. Okay, any other question? So these are two really good questions. I would love to have a few more, because we still have some more time. Yeah. Okay, see, because I had a few more slides, and one of them actually got addressed through one of the questions. So actually, I had a small case study on Xiaomi. I don't have time to go through full of it, but the part of the case study was about how Xiaomi uses social media very effectively to deal with fans. They're social media fans. One is like addressing fans honestly and positively, right? The other one is, see, engaging the fans with interesting topics. See, there are 5 levels of participation which you can think of. One is reading the comments, forwarding, commenting, creating, and moderating. Okay. So the thing is, when you engage a customer with interesting topics, right, view their comments and forward the same to others, there is a lot of opportunity that you can start interacting with people. See, the idea always, see, I also said that in my last session, and I also repeat that in this session. A brand is successful when there are enough stories about the brand. The stories essentially might not be about, for example, say, something very historical, something having a lot of legacy, but it can also be stories relating to products, small things like services. Okay, but the idea is that you get people talking about your brand. So Xiaomi does this very well. For example, you see, each week, their softwares are updated. Fans can try new features, discuss and learn about them. I'm talking about Xiaomi smartphones. They say that very few smartphones offer this kind of a community. The idea is that you give your fans something to look forward to each week. As such, MI fans have something to look forward to each week and can keep abreast of changes. Okay. Another part which I wanted to bring up was that you monitor your reviews very attentively. So we are talking a lot about the social media tweets, posts, comments, right? And that is sort of related. You monitor your reviews very attentively. Especially monitor the reviewers. Generally, if you look at good reviews consistently, they will be an influencer. a super fan, and they might provide you very valuable insights, right? So you have to ensure that taking into account the views from super fans become a part of your standard operating procedure. So we are talking about securing digital assets in the previous class. Monitoring your digital assets, not only for crisis, but also for better fan engagement, should be a part of your standard operating procedure. Say, Xiaomi Corporation, they treat their fan reviews very seriously and attentively. So, for example, the product-related feedback is valued very highly. Any comment is researched seriously. Depending on the gravity of the comment, it is addressed. Okay. So consider the following example. Say, many people, they don't find it easy to update the smartphone software. In response, Xiaomi, they provide software updates, procedures for fans to learn. People want to conserve power of the smartphones. These are comments, real comments. Accordingly, Xiaomi has provided a large capacity battery. Customers may not be very well versed with camera functionality. They have provided them with a technical SOP. Some people want filter important calls at night, some don't want. Xiaomi Corporation smartphones, they offer automatic filtering. See, these actually, the interesting part is that these came up from customer reviews. So one is addressing the reviews honestly and positively, one is about monitoring the reviews attentively. See, someone might say that Xiaomi phones are not good on power conservation. One way would have been to delete the tweet, the comment. One way is what Xiaomi has done, addressing it. The second one will make your fans more engaged. And Xiaomi are very good at doing that. Just wanted to show you some facts that even their founder, Lei Jun, right? He has been very active on Facebook, both Sina Weibo and Facebook. Oftentimes he becomes a source of direct communication. So they are very fan-centric social media. Right? So the two sets of slides that I presented, one was like, the first one was weighing heavily, for example, on what happens if you don't handle your social media well. Then it can be detrimental for your brand. This next set of slides is about what if you handle your social media well. It can be very beneficial for your brand. So these slides was about how do you handle your social media well. The first one is about how you avoid social media crisis. Okay. So that's pretty much the crux, right, of this session. I'm open to any other. We have 2 or 3 minutes. I'm open to other questions also now. Yeah. Okay, so I have one question. If larger influencers won't be able to take care of the followers one-on-ones, won't it backfire them? If yes, how can they do it? Take care of the followers. Okay. So I think this was more from the previous session. See, no, you see, you have to look at the process, right, through which they have become the large influencers. Say, for example, we are talking about the mega influencers in the previous class. See, initially they started with a small fan base and people started trusting in them because of their comments, the genuineness of their comments. Over the years, gradually, their fan base increased as people started trusting more in them. And from their acquaintances, it moved beyond their acquaintances to people whom they might not be knowing personally, who might not be part of the friend circle, their acquaintance circle, etc. So the thing is, see, so your baseline trust was always there. Okay, it started with a small set of people. It increased slowly until it got to a point, okay, wherein the word spread, okay, that this guy's comments are genuine, can be trusted upon. Right? So his comments can be touted as genuine even if I don't have direct personal access to him, because he's built it right over the years. So instead of 5,000 he started with, then to 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, right? The level of trust is always there intact. Right? Initial set of people had personal contact with him, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. After that, the word spread that this guy could be trusted. And then you no longer need to have a direct contact with him. Right? But you know that the level of trust is still there. Because hardly we do get posts saying that his comments have become off the mark, can't be trusted anymore, are not genuine. So that's how they still take care of that. Okay. Any other question? Some really good questions today. I thank you for that. See, just would like to wrap this up. The thing that, all of you might be attending various guest lectures, expert seminars. You will hear CEOs giving seminars. You will hear CFOs giving seminars. You might hear VP HRs giving seminars. You hear VP marketing giving seminars. Hardly will you get to know about any chief crisis officer giving seminars. And that also shows the real state of things. We don't take crisis seriously till it happens. But when it happens, right, it's beyond control. Right? So it's always good, right? And I tell my students the same thing here, right? That, see, it can be a very good way for you to differentiate, because not many people will have knowledge, for example, of how to create a crisis playbook, how to, all these things of how to secure digital assets. Okay. Then, for example, how to, what do you call that? Maintain control over digital assets or digital information. If you build a good level of knowledge on that, that can be a good way for you to differentiate also in your organization. Because I'm pretty sure that not many people will have knowledge about these things. If you're able to build knowledge on these things, it will definitely give you some extra edge, right, over your peers. You just go and check with them, how many of them know about all these crisis procedures, right? Yeah, so that's the thing. Brand crisis and social media is a very burning topic, a very hot topic. If you can work on that area, I'm pretty sure it will be big in the coming years. It's not big now, but definitely it will be big in the coming years. Okay. Yeah, so I'm pretty much done here with my presentation. Any questions I'll ask? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I request the participants, please raise your questions. Sir will love to address them. Okay, sir. In that, then I will take this liberty I was just wondering that sometimes we talk about this polychronic and monochronic kind of culture in marketing, comparing to the Western sort of things like Indian and Western. Do you see any sort of differences of social media branding or marketing in the context of in the Western way they are doing, or suppose any developed? I mean, we're still developing. Any sort of differences?
Okay, so are you talking about polychronic and monochronic cultures?
Yes.
Okay, so you mean monochronic cultures like doing just one thing at a time, being very orderly?
I think, sir, you need to stop your this one presentation.
Okay.
Yes, that will be more of broader.
Oh, just a second. I'll do that. Let me just go to the Google.
Yes.
Stop presenting, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So are you mean? Do you mean like polychronic?
Monochronic, yes. The work culture. Yes.
Okay. And so can you repeat your question again?
Yes, I was saying that when you look into this monochronic, polychronic cultural, this communicative aspect or any kind of marketing or social media branding, do you see any sort of differences between comparing to Indian and other countries?
Okay. See, in general, in consumer behavior research, there is a lot of talk about these cultural differences, right? Yes. Impacting this cultural difference, impacting what you call impacting consumer choices, consumer preferences, right? Polychronic, monochronic. So what I get from it is that, see, because monochronic people like a sense of order, right? I mean, they like doing one thing at a time, right? If I'm right.
Yes.
And polychronic people, they can do multiple things at a time. Can be in a random order also. So I think, say for example, in the context of online reviews, you see that for polychronic reviewers, it will be more like a very pointed review, maybe about one particular product feature, say a software update, and they would expect the answers also to be very to the point, right, specific to the topic. In the case of so this is monochronic. In the case of polychronic, you see the reviews might not be very pointed. They might be asking you thousands of things. They might ask you on software update, camera quality, say for a smartphone, processing capacity, battery life, right? So then they would expect a lot of information, right, from you in the answer, right? So it might be a little bit all over the place, right? But then information structure might be very important to them. So information, what do you call that? Substantiveness, that might be more important to them. But for the monochronic people, depth of information in the response might be more important. Right? So the way in which they evaluate quality of responses might be very different.
And also, sir, another doubt that suppose a beginner is starting his entrepreneur or any sort of marketing he's into, or in a beginning time, what is the right time to post this social post or something? What is the right time to post about your the deeds or something? Right time of the day or something? I mean, in a general perspective.
I can
to gain more followers, those things. I mean,
okay. If you just there are many papers on this. If you just remind me, I can share one or two papers.
Sure, I love to.
There's a lot of work being done on this. A lot of multiple views also. I can share one or two papers. Just remind me, I'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I just see one more question here.
Yes,
how to measure success? See, there are multiple ways in which you can measure success. For example, you can measure success through engagement, awareness, reach, impact. Then, for example, simply return on money, right, etc. Right. ROI might not be always the right thing. Say, for example, say political parties. Right. You see, generally some of the political parties in India are very active, right, on social media. There's a case study on, for example, Bharatiya Janata Party, right, managing social media very effectively in 2014 Maharashtra Assembly elections. And believe it or not, they spent only a mere few lakhs. And the return they got was enormous. They came out with a thumping majority. Right. In that case, how do you measure success? Right? It's not purely the ROI, right? It's also the number of seats that they won because of the unique WhatsApp campaign that they launched in Maharashtra. Okay. Then, for example, say if you recall this book-born red label ad, which they launched through YouTube, which was mostly for transgenders to showcase them in a better way. See, there were multiple things in which they gained success. Not only ROI, of course, their sales shot up, right? But it was, for example, they had more reach, more awareness, more people being able to recall their brand. Okay, more people having the brand in the consideration set, more people having the brand in the final purchase. So I'm talking about the various steps of consumer decision making, consideration, evaluation, purchase, post-purchase, right? So ROI may be just one thing. I mean, multiple other things to measure success of social media.
Any other query? Okay. Okay. I think Dr. Sunil has something to say.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Hi, Dr. Sunil.
Yeah. Sorry, I was in a class. I was engaged in a class, so I came late.
Okay. No problem. Yeah.
Sir, I have a query regarding this. That there is, as you are very fond of this political, as you have displayed, but there is lots of misinformation given by these political people. Mm-hmm. So suppose there are two parties. I don't want to mention. But both of them give some kind of misinformation. Then a customer or a consumer will get confused. End of the day, he get neutralized. Means he do not know which is correct and which is wrong. So in that case, how you measure or how you can control? Is there anything to control or do something or?
I've not worked in that space, in this particular space.
Okay.
How to filter out, say, genuine from fake fake information. but just I'm taking, based on my understanding, you see, we are talking about influencers, right, in the previous class.
Yes. Yes.
And of course, I must not say that influencers always will be genuine. But
yeah.
many a times you will find that people whose opinions can be respected a lot. Right? So maybe, see, the thing is, we keep talking about source of information in consumer behavior. That is very important, right? When people lose track of the source, right, that is where they start processing information in a not very accurate way.
Yes.
Right? So if you're aware of the source, and if you're able to trace the source, you take some effort in tracing the source is authentic and genuine, right? Then you can take that information also to be accurate.
Yeah.
But if the source is like all over the place, like what we see in WhatsApp,
yes,
then I think there is no reason why we should trust it.
Yes.
It's the same like, for example, say consumer reports, right? Giving review of a product versus a random guy in WhatsApp giving review of a product.
Yeah.
Right. So whom do you trust?
Yes.
That is where is the thing. I think we often lose track of the source, and that is why we start believing in all this fake information.
Exactly.
Right.
And again, end of the day, what matters is for this influencer, somebody is sponsoring, right? He has some motive behind why he is doing. No doubt, he gives right information for the time being for the subscriber, but end of the day, he works for some sponsor and he wants to hit the target. So that is the point.
Yes. So as you grow big as an influencer, that risk is always there of losing out on your genuineness, and that's a challenge for influencer to control their genuineness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Kaushik?
Yes. I think over to you. Thank you. Okay, then the silence can be taken as a yes, that we have come to the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much, sir, for this last 2 sessions. It was such a wonderfully dealt with. And from ASBM fraternity, we are so grateful to you that you have accepted our invitation. And today we are present with us. Thank you so much. I would love to have such more engaging sessions in the future too. Let the collaboration also go on. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you also very much for giving me the opportunity. It was a pleasure to be here and address the audience. Thank you.
It's a great session, sir, from all of us. Let us continue this relationship beyond and work in some research endeavors of like-minded topics of this area.
Definitely, sir. Yeah, surely.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Yes.
Okay. So I can log out.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now we can. I request the participants.
I also thank all the participants for the wonderful.
Yes.
I request the participants to stay, not to get disconnect. We have an announcement to make.
Okay. So I'll leave then. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, finally, the journey of this 2 weeks program is going to end, and we have it is a wide area. Covering these areas in these 2 weeks was a difficult task, but we have made calculative, and we are very much happy that we have touched, almost given some kind of glimpses. Hope the services that we have provided, it contributes to your learning process or change in your mind or behavior of these conditions. When we started our journey to come up with this program, actually we thought of some self-sponsored one with a specialization. We targeted, we planned that this program to be with some kind of a working professionals who will be expertise in some area. But due to this COVID and when we contacted and made some memorandum with different media channels, the fees came all about 25,000 and 26,000 with a job guarantee. But keeping the economy in mind, so we thought, why not we introduce this introduction program in these initial stages. Then later on, we would develop. So next time we make a program, we think on some one area. But there are several gray areas which we do not touch, like this international marketing, or it may be storytelling, or it may be rural communication, international communications, which Dr. Kaushik have prescribed. So hopefully we'll come up with another such programs. And finally, I would say that we will be sending as for the formality, and it is a prerequisite of this program. So we will have a quiz. So we'll be sending the link. You take your time, one day, no problem. So please give your right information in that with regard to your name, designation, and organization, so that we will take those credentials for issuing of your certificates. And the quiz means it is just a formality since most of the senior members are there. So, but we love that you take, it is an open access, open-ended, you take the help of internet, but it is compulsory that you need to participate. Only 5 questions are there. And with that, we have one another question about the feedback. If at all you think that some topics which we can touch in the future, or any kind of suggestions that you would like to give, you can say it with us. So that link I will share you in your mail IDs as so that since we are going to end this officially, we will send you in your mail ID. So please do it quickly so that you can get the certificates.
Yes, with that, yes, when you will feel that guarantees your participation, actuality. I mean the certificates and all that will be. So kindly fill that in. Anyway, I just would love to listen to any of the feedback. Can I just request everyone, please, for a second, kindly switch on your videos so that I can take a last screenshot. It will go for any sort of publication or something. If all are comfortable. Anyone? Except both of us. Thank you so much, sir. All the time, the first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prachi
is there. Ananya, can you? We're not going to meet after
Sandeep.
this. Okay. Yes. We are waiting.
Any other? Dhirendra Behra, if you are there. Rajesh.
We are waiting for Ananya.
Okay. Network issues is with Ananya, actually.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jitendra Pal, sir.
Yes, Ananya has come.
If anything.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yes. Dhirendra Behra, sir.
And
Nice
sir, your feedbacks are very much prizeful to us, and please share anytime. You have our email IDs, mobile numbers. So any sort of improvement or development you require, you can share with us. We will try to come with such innovative things in the letter. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity and for these services that we have provided, and hope still more learning should be there and more improvement in the coming endeavors. If any, please suggest us so that we can know that which area we have not touched yet, so that we could be able to do it next time when we come up with some program.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. So nice.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, Ananya. You are very sportive, and I like the questions that you have made. Really, I am very much enthusiastic. This should be the rapport. This should be the personality. I have seen you are eagerly participating in all sessions. Good. Keep it up, Ananya.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone, in fact, even Durgadas, Prachi.
Yeah, even Prachi.
Everyone, Durgadas.
Prachi is also, even in the induction program.
Yeah.
All programs is always proactive.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And another one, I think someone is missing. Prachi, Ananya, and another.
Sujata, sir.
Yes, Sujata. Yes. Okay. Thank you all.